Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to tell you what I like about the chart and what I don't like about the chart, starting here with Bitcoin real quick. I just don't like this sort of bottlenecking type of chart, this price here. I mean, you can see how it has a high, higher high, drops down, bottlenecks, right? Usually that means it's going to drop. You can see how it did that here. We bottleneck to the upside, hits to the it breaks to the upside, right? You can see the same thing happening over here, where you have a peak and then it takes out the high, drops down, and then it does this bottleneck, and then bam, drops hard through the floor. So you can see, you know, this area and this area also moving on. You can see it also happening over here, where we drop in. You see this bottleneck, right? Kind of going up and down, up and down, up and down. No trend, no real count, just sort of oscillating down, right? And then bam, it drops to the floor, has a three-way pullback, drops again. So you can see all of these areas here where it sort of does that. So that's why I'm saying, like, maybe we should be a little bit cautious here, because we could get a drop. If we do get a drop, we don't want to fall below that 786, right at 52, 53K, right? So we could see this become, right, a W. This is an X, right? And this would be the buy opportunity, and then we go up for a Y, like a W, X, Y. I just don't like the shape of what's happening here. It looks too impulsive, right? So, like, see how this goes up, and it's got a nice shape. Got 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. It's perfect, right? W, X, Y. It gives you a nice three-wave shape. This is just like straight down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It looks very bearish, right? So it could be a diagonal where we break out and then we come down and then we get that X, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking too. You know, some sort of long or short squeeze here. We still have some bullish divergence. So let's be on the lookout for that. This could also be actually XRP looks like it could be some type of maybe Wyckoff pattern here, where you have, you know, your little range, right? And I'm not sure if that wick was the spring or not, but you can see boom, 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 and now we're starting to come down. Maybe we swoop in here, right? Play around and then go. I mean, it's plausible. It looks like a good Wyckoff, and get that divergence in here. Because on XRP, the divergence is a lot stronger. I mean, you can see low, lower low, lower low, lower low, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low. So there's a lot of divergence there. So that's why it's a little bit conflicting right now. Although I don't really care for the shape at the moment. I mean, things can change. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we do have a doji here, so let's see if we can hold the line here. We're right at support, so let's zoom in here. There's definitely no trend, right? I mean, we have 3 up, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it looks like kind of an impulse to the downside, a 3-way pullback, and then a 5-way move down, right? So, you know, we still have to flip the trend. Otherwise, we should just continue to expect this to keep bleeding. But, you know, when I look at something like Zcash, you know, Zcash looks okay. Like, it was a big impulse down, but it was kind of oversold, and it's not doing any bottleneck stuff, and it's kind of got a nice pin, like this pin bar bullish hammer candle here. It's kind of building a little bit of a base. Obviously, there could be some more downside, and it usually is when you have a big drop like that. You kind of play around a little bit, hit the low, and then it should be finished, right? I mean, that's kind of what you would think. So like for theta, you know, I'm still, you know, we talked about the TD9 buy, right? We got a 9 buy, and you can see right here we have a bullish hammer candle, and it closed nicely. And then this candle, remember what I talk about wicks, this candle's coming down to retest this wick 50%, right? So if you take the whole thing and you take this whole thing and you just cut it in half, right, just about, that's kind of where it comes back down, right? So, and it retest it. If it breaks below that 50% of that wick, it comes up, it gets rejected here, you know, as resistance, then we can say, okay, maybe that 9 isn't in the, you know, we still need more downside. Like for example, you can see this 9 buy, it looked really good, right? And then we hit the low, and then you can see that's when we got the relief, but then it ended up making one more low, and then it continued higher. So we want to use it with Elliott wave as well. But yeah, that's today's candle. I mean, today's Thursday, right? I mean, I always say Thursdays are always volatile days for some reason. So we'll see how this day closes, and you know, we'll go from there. But you can also see, you know, I pulled this fractal here, and I mirror it, and I put it right there, and you can kind of see sort of the resemblance we have here. Here's another quick example of just looking at some random charts here, dropping down, right? You can see how it bottlenecks in here, boom, 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 boom. And then what does it do? It comes down, has that final flush, and then it kind of continues higher. So, I mean, you can even kind of see it on the larger time frames here on THETA, right? How it drops in, and look at this. Boom, 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 right? So we could have a big drop down here to finish it out and then continue higher. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here now. It's giving me this impression that, you know, until the evidence is there, we have to assume that it's going to keep dumping here, right? So ICP kind of looks like maybe a triangle. Boom, 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 boom. We talked about that. So we got 1, 2, 3, fourth wave triangle, maybe hit the low here. So my summary thoughts are, if Bitcoin, and you can see it's dumping right now, if Bitcoin can get back above 60,000, you know, it's gonna look way better. But until then, you know, it's not looking so hot. Again, we have 3 down, right? And then we have this 3-wave move, and then we could be getting this 3-wave move here, right? So we have W, X, and then Y. So that's my main bearish idea. Okay, so we'll see how that plays. The bullish idea is that this is 3 up, and then we get another 3 down, and then we come back up in 3. So boom, boom, boom. All of which mean we still have a little bit of downside to go. So that's kind of where I'm standing here. And then from there, we have the opportunity to take some of this liquidity here and maybe start flagging out like this and then break out. That's what I would like to see happen. If this comes down and takes the low, it's going to do it anyways. It's going to flag out anyways. It's just going to be a later time, right? And then if we continue to fall, then we have to go back down in a reaccumulation between 30 and 40K, right? Or at least that 40K area. Yeah, when I look at this structure, I mean, it still looks bullish, right? I mean, because we're flagging out. We're having these oscillating waves here. But what's going on in the small time frames, and seems like it needs more downside. Now, this could still turn into, right? I mean, we still have a low here. Like, this could still be wave 1, and this could be wave 2. So we have an impulse here for wave 1, and then we have this expanded flat here for wave 2, and maybe wave 2 is not finished, right? Maybe it's got to get down here towards the 618.702 and then continue higher. But what I'm saying is, you got this kind of bottlenecking here where it comes down and it does this crap, right? Just like it's done it before. I mean, you can see it really good right here, right? You drop in and then bam, hit the low. So could be a good short, and then once we get down here, I'd look for a 5-wave move on the small time frame, a 3-wave pullback, and then maybe go long. So as a trader, we don't care if it goes up or down. We make money all the way, but most people are hodlers and they make money going up. But the thing is as you're a hodler, no matter what, you're gonna win if you're in the right coin. But then also if you have enough time going by, right? Obviously, crypto's here to stay. Crypto's the future. But between now and then, there's just a lot of speculation on price. Where should price be? So I think there's unemployment numbers, CPI numbers, right? I mean, there's a lot of things going on with the economy, the labor market. So all of that stuff has an effect on crypto short term, right? But once we get a new president, it's going to be totally different, because optimism is going to return and we're going to get things done. And I think utility, regulation, all that stuff is going to propel Bitcoin forward. But this is just shaking out all the weak hands. That's what I think is happening here, right? Driving people crazy, just doing nothing, right? It could come back up and then take the low, right? So again, we just got to be cautious here. So I think that'll do it. I'll just make a short video today. Again, 3 up, 3 down, or actually 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down. So you got W, X, Y. So there's your 3-wave move. Let's see if that plays out, and we back test, between 44 and 47K. I think 47K could be on the radar. And then once we get down there, that'll be towards October, November, right in here, right? And then maybe, the election happens and maybe it's smooth and we get a big pump out of there. I don't know. But I think this is definitely a valid idea here. So let's just look out for that. Anything else? Well, let's if we zoom into the 5-minute chart. I mean, you can kind of see it happening on the 5-minute chart too, right? Where you kind of drop in and now you're sort of bottlenecking in here. So, sometimes it just drops through the floor. Looking at this chart right here, it actually looks kind of similar here. You see how we have like 3 up, right? We drop down and then we kind of go this bottlenecking, and then we drop through the floor. I mean, it kind of looks similar. Now, you know, when you put these two charts side by side, you can start to see the bearish fractal, right? You got this three-way move, you drop down, right? And then you kind of like bottlenecking in here. So, and then you fall through the floor. So I'm just wondering if that's what's happening here. So just be on the lookout, right? I mean, I'm thinking, you know, that's a good possibility, right? Not financial advice. If I'm a hodler, does that mean I'm going to run and panic and sell everything? Heck no. But as a trader and as someone who wants to continue to dollar cost average, I want to know if there's a big dump coming up soon, because if I'm deciding to buy some today, maybe I'll wait for that big dump to happen. And then I can start adding, because a hodler, their main job is dollar cost averaging, right? So maybe that's once a week, twice a month, I mean, whatever. So, but let's say it's once every 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks is coming up now, and you're ready to make another buy. But if we have a big dump coming, maybe I might wait another week and see what happens and then put it in here, right? Because we're not trying to time the exact bottom, but we're trying to accumulate a position, a hodl position. Even if it does go down, right, all your buys cannot be on the bottom. They have to be sort of spread out, right? So collectively, once Bitcoin starts going towards 100K, all of those buys are going to be in profit no matter what, right? But it's just about waiting until that occurs. And I think that will happen. I mean, this is the longest bear market in Bitcoin's history as far as Bitcoin not going into expansion. So, I mean, you know what I mean? So if I, for example, take a bars pattern here, right, and sort of overlay it with the current price, you can kind of see from a time perspective, look where we're at, right? I mean, we should be breaking out right now, right? I mean, look at this. There's your big breakout right here, but look what we're doing. We're dumping, right? So, but you know what? If a fractal has been following for so long, people start to figure it out, and then they trade according to it. But then over time, everybody's on the right, on one side of the trade, and then it flips to the people who are on the opposite side. So it's always the opposite side wins, right? The herd always loses, the masses always lose. So if the herd is believing we're going to break out, and look at this from a time perspective, and then also what we've been talking about, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, we still need a fifth wave. Everybody's looking at that stuff too, thinking the same sort of thing, right? But we have to be we have to think opposite of what other people are trying to think. But the cool part is, even if we did go down, right? I mean, that's okay, because depending on the situation, we have to play the card or the hand we're dealt. So if we do go down into reaccumulation, then at least we know what it is. And then from here, that's where our bull run is, because there's not a lot of confidence right in here. There's not a lot of confidence because it's an election year. The deep state's going to try to do something, right? The economy, the recession, the labor market, unemployment, inflation, the Fed, right? So the dollar, the stock market. I mean, it's just like, there's a lot of things that are happening. So if all those things sort of eventually cool off and we're in reaccumulation, then the conviction of getting that breakout is going to be a lot higher. So, but as far as what I'm looking at it now, it still looks like a fourth wave, right? If this is wave 2, this could be wave 4. I mean, it's still in the same degree, and it still looks pretty decent. And then also from a time perspective, I believe this was 150 days or so. Yeah, 154 days. And then from this peak here down to the bottom, that's 147 days. So, you know, we have the appropriate amount of time. And so, you know, it's just the small time frames kind of look bearish. So, yeah, that should do it for this video. Just look out for a dump, and then hopefully we can hold here. And then this could turn into, you know, 1, 2, 3, a three-way move back to the upside, right? As far as the other charts go, I mean, there's not really much to say. Like, for example, Ethereum. Here's the bearish idea for Ethereum, right? So this is an ABC, A, B, C. But we don't have 5 waves. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need 5. So even Ethereum is saying, hey, we probably need another wave to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have A. This comes up in a B, and then we have 5 down for wave C. We build a base, and then we go. That's sort of what I'm thinking here. Which means we have another low. Which means, you know, when I look at XRP versus Ethereum, it's actually looking pretty good here. Still. Or when I look at, you know, like just a random coin, if Ethereum broke the low, does that mean like something like SHIB would break the low? Well, it's possible. So you have a trend line here, boom, and boom, right there. So if we did drop, we could see another hit here. And then we would get that triple bullish divergence and then continue higher, right? This is all part of the bottoming process, I think, here. Because, you know, Bitcoin is pretty far up and it has a long way down if it did. But a lot of these altcoins are, you know, pretty much back at their support lines, right? I mean, they've been here for a long time. I mean, look at this base here that SHIB has created. SHIB has created a big, huge base, and we're back testing it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7 waves down. So, you know what? I'm not sure if SHIB would even break the low, right? It would take something pretty big for it to break the low. I think this low could hold. I think we still got more downside, but I think this low down here would hold. And that's still quite a ways away. I mean, that's from there to there. That's almost a 20% move, right? So we could fall 20% and it still not really break the low. It'd be a double bottom. But yeah, I mean, VeChain looks pretty depressing here. So if there was some clear wave structure on the smaller time frame, we could get a better edge on it. But most of the things that I see is an impulse with a 3-way pullback, and now it's impulsing again, right? And it's got this going on. So unless we can have a double bottom here, that's kind of our last sort of Hail Mary for not having another low, right? So we'll touch back on it again sometime this week, and just, you know, be cautious. Remember, this is not financial advice. I could be wrong. This thing can go to 0. I could be wrong. This thing can go to $1 million. You just really have to figure things out for yourself. I could provide a little bit of opinion on how I'm looking at it, but you know, you take that with a grain of salt. I mean, at the end of the day, this is your money. This is what you have to figure this out for yourself. And if you just, sometimes no trade is better, right, than a bad trade. Sometimes it's just best to just wait and just let it happen. I think the reason why people don't want to wait is because they don't want to miss out, right? And I totally get it, because once it goes, and it's hard to get back in once it starts flying. But you know, there's always going to be pullbacks. There's always going to be, you know, these three-wave pullbacks, these bull flags, right? The divert. There's always going to be that. The market's going to come back some way, and it will allow you to get back in, right? So the biggest, I think the painful part is not the fact that it's bleeding. The painful part is sort of the time that it's taking. It's taking a long time. So it's kind of getting ready for something, right? So, but then once that big moment happens, rather it be, you know, a capitulation or whatever, then we know that it's going to eventually mark that bottom, or it's going to have that impulse to the upside and eventually have that pullback. So no matter what happens, we just got to be patient. We got to let it come to us. All right. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And let's get ready to roll. I mean, this thing's going to do something here, and it's going to be interesting. So, all right, guys. Take care. Bye.